You're looking to break into the real estate industry, but you do not have the hundreds of thousands of dollars that sometimes it requires to invest into just one property. What if there were a way that you could spend a few $100s or even less than $100 and reap huge rewards in terms of returns and profit on these properties? This video today, I am going to be going into probably the best kept secret in real estate investment and also show you step by step how you should approach it, and also practical examples of massive returns that persons have realized in these investments. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Next Level Life Paths, where we take the next steps needed to grow towards our financial freedom and success. Now today we're going to be looking at tax lien. Now what is a tax lien? A tax lien is a legal claim placed on a property by the government for outstanding property taxes that have not been paid. Now, local governments rely heavily on property taxes to fund certain public services like roads, emergency services, and schools. So therefore, you will realize that if property taxes are not paid any at all or on time, then it can cause significant challenges for the local government. So therefore, what happens is that when a property owner does not pay their property taxes, then the government places a lien on this property and creates a tax certificate that is then auctioned to the public. Now what this does, it creates two opportunities. One, it's that it allows the government to recover the outstanding taxes, and two, it now allows investors to earn an interest on their money. Now let's go a little bit deeper into how it works. When there is a tax debt, the government creates a tax certificate for the amount that is outstanding in terms of the taxes. Then there is an auction held usually once every month, depending on the state or the county. And then the winning bidder pays the amount of this tax certificate. Now remember that as low as it might be in terms of the taxes, it is an active bidding process, so it can go as high as possible. However, it is normally nowhere near to the original value of the property. Then there are the earning returns, because yes, there is an interest paid on these tax certificates if it is that the owner wants to redeem the ownership of his property. Now, why are tax liens a hidden gem? Well, first and foremost, it is because one, the high returns that they give you, and this is coupled by the low barrier to entry, because it normally takes a low amount for you to enter and for you to own these properties eventually. Now remember that there are certain things that you must keep in mind, because hey, with every venture that you want to go into, there is some amount of risk and it depends on your risk appetite. But this investment opportunity into real estate offers the lowest risk that you can possibly realize in this venture. And what makes this risk more tolerable is that it is a predictable risk, because hey, this is a property that you can see, you can look at, therefore your returns are more guaranteed. And who or where better to invest in than an investment opportunity or product that is guaranteed or backed by the government itself, because there are certain set interests that must be paid on your investment if it is that the owner wants to reclaim ownership of this property. So it is a win-win scenario, because there are only two outcomes that can happen from this venture. One is that the owner wants to reclaim ownership of his property, therefore he wants to pay the back taxes, but he must pay you, the investor, the amount that you had won the auction by, plus the interest rate that is mandated by the government. If it is that he does not want to pay that amount, and at the end of the redemption period, then you have the right to put the property in foreclosure, and then the property is outright yours. For whatever the market value is, you have now gotten the property for whatever you paid at the auction. It's a win-win situation, so why not proceed with it? Now, you hear me mention the term redemption period several times, so let me explain what that is in more detail. For different states, there are different periods that the owner has the legal right to return and claim the property. Now, you have some states like Texas that has a low redemption period of 6 months. That means the owner has 6 months to pay up the back taxes plus the interest, and you have different states that will go up to 2 or 3 years. It is therefore best for you to investigate what state you live in and what are the redemption rules that apply to your state or county. Another thing that I mentioned in the previous content is that there are some associated risks, but I do not want you to get discouraged because with every venture there is some amount of associated risk. If you are even taking a 9-to-5 job, what they present to you in an interview might not be the reality of the job and the workplace itself. You are taking a risk. You are entering into a relationship with someone else. What they present on the first few dates might not be the reality of getting into a relationship with them, so it is some amount of risk. It is therefore no different in a business relationship. You just must know what appetite you have for risk. And this has a low risk appetite. Therefore, what I recommend that you do are a few steps. Step 1 is that you research the laws that pertain to tax lien or deed within your own state. Step 2 is that you do your due diligence. When you pull up on their website the properties that are going to be auctioned on the particular date, then you research online, go to Zillow or go to Google Maps and pull up images of the property. You can even use Google Earth that you can have an aerial view of the property to see where it lies. Does it lie near to a creek? Is it within a development? Is it located in a good residential area, or is it near to a more violent area? So do your research, because there have been horror stories of persons who blindly go and purchase a property from auction. Then what they have resulted in purchasing is a sliver of land, or it is a land that is unable to be built on because the terrain or the soil quality is not one that is suitable for building. So do your due diligence. However, the majority of cases is that these are good properties because, hey, why would the person prior to you have purchased the property if it was not somewhere worth living or building or residing on? So therefore, over 90% of cases or chances are that the property is going to be one that is worth investing in. Another due diligence that you can do is to see what the market value is for the property. Because when you go to the auction, because it is just like those live auctions on TV or those shows that you're watching, you get a number, you start with $500, do I have $550? You raise your number and I hear $550 over there at number 24, then someone else raises their number and you have $600 over there. You do not want to overbid on the property that is up for auction. And that would only come from you doing your due diligence before to know what the market value is, to know what capping point or what ceiling point that you should not go above in terms of your bidding. Let the others get carried away, but you stay diligent based on your prior knowledge to know what is the maximum amount that you should bid. Outside of the market value though, you are to do your budget to know that I am going to this auction and I'm only going to be spending $10,000 for argument's sake, and I will not go above this because I just cannot afford it. Why? Because you have a certain period that you must pay. Sometimes they will give you 1 to 3 hours after the auction that you must make that payment by check or by money order, so you must have your live cash ready. If it is that you do not make the payment on that date after you won the bid, then chances are you can be blocked for a certain period from bidding or auctioning again. Some states will ban you indefinitely because you did not show good faith in terms of honoring your commitment to paying for the property. Now, let me give you some examples of what you can get a return on in terms of these investments. And I don't want you to doubt it for a minute because these are returns that are mandated by law. Georgia, for argument's sake, is 20%, while Florida is 18%, Texas is 25%, and Illinois is a whopping 36%. Therefore, if it is that you purchased a property and you want to bid for $1,000, in Illinois, whatever the redemption period is, you will be getting a 36% return on that $1,000, meaning that if the owner wants to recover his property, he would have to pay you $1,360. Hey, what is the return that you are getting now in your savings account? 0.001%? This is worth the investment, and as I said, the return is a win-win because it is either that you're going to get the property outright, or you are going to be paid your amount by the owner because he wants to reclaim his property, plus the mandated interest rate of your state. Let me backtrack a bit because there's something that I forgot. Before going to the auction, you normally have to register. Sometimes they will ask you for a refundable or non-refundable registration amount. But however, there are many states, including my state, that a registration fee is not required. All you have to do is register, then you appear on the day at the auction time. Maybe go a little bit early so that you can go through the registration process, get your final listing of the properties and your number, that card to hold up, that you can be ready for the auction itself. But all in all, my friends, this is a much more viable option with a low entry cost of getting into real estate. You don't have to be dealing with Airbnb properties or dealing with renters. You can just sit, know the redemption period, purchase the property at a mere fraction of the original cost of the property. Then you wait for it to either be redeemed or you wait to put a foreclosure on the property, and then you get the deed and the property is yours. Pretty simple, isn't it? Did you know about this process? If you knew about it before, place it in the comment section below, as well as if you know of anyone else that might be interested in entering the real estate industry, but they might not have the significant amount of cash required to put the deposit and closing costs and so on a property. Let them know of this easy, secret way that you can get into the real estate industry with a minimal amount of investment. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for clicking on this video. I appreciated the time that you spent with me. I enjoyed sharing this information with you, and see you in the next video.